This video will be part 2 of the retaining cap. So in our last video, we finished up the part, and the last thing you did was do File, Save As, and you call this retaining cap. Now we're going to put this onto a drawing file in this video. So I'm going to create a new drawing file. We're still in English. Of course, you know the first few steps of changing the sheet, edit sheet, make it size A, delete the large title block. What did I do? Delete the large title block, add in the small title block. And I'm going to add my base. Let's do this view. We want to do the one where you can see all the part, but that's a little large. Let's make it a half scale. Okay. I want it where you don't have any hidden lines. If you have it this way, for example, I think that's the inferior view. So let's go ahead and make it this one. Okay, and I'm gonna make this, let's do a section view. So to do a section view, I'm gonna hit section and look at what Inventor wants you to do. Select a view or sketch. I'm looking in the bottom area. This view, click. And now my mouse is basically like my butter knife, right? This is the loaf of bread, and now you're looking ahead, and now you're going to create the knife path. So I'm going to start, not here, I'm going to go a little bit beyond it, and use those dotted lines as a guidance. Start here, and this is like the path of my knife. And I'll go a little bit beyond, click again, try and keep the distances around symmetrical. And then when you're done, right click, continue. And let's drop it down. We can always move them later if we find that we need more room. All right, let's now do some annotations first. I think it's always a good habit to do your center marks and your center lines first before any dimensions. So let's start with the center mark. Now this could get a little bit tricky because this circle right here is not one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a whole bunch of little mini arcs from the way the overhead view makes it look. So, like, for example, if I do right here, that's not quite what I want. I also want to do this and this. So you're going to have to do 3 for each section. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Actually, you probably only need to do the 2. Probably this one and that one, but it's fine. Now we are going to create the centered pattern, and I believe we've done these before. This is this feature over here where we create a circular center mark pattern. So I'm gonna click this right here, the centered pattern one, and look at what Inventor is telling you to do next. Always look back to the bottom left to see what it's saying. Select center of circular pattern. I'm gonna click this circle right here to get the center of it. And then I'm gonna keep hitting these small circles that shows the pattern that I am creating it with. And once I do that, I'm going to right click and hit create. Now we're good with that. Let's go down and create some center lines that come here. Now we've done center lines and center line bisectors. So the center line bisectors are the feature you use when you have the two edges to create it. Center line is what you use when you don't have the two edges. So let's look at where we would need center lines. In the middle, the entire portion right here is a circular pattern, is a hole. So I would want the center line to start here and go down here. I don't technically have two edges that extend the entire way. If I do the center line bisector for here, I would actually have to be doing it twice because that would only be for the front and that one for the bottom. It doesn't really look like a very good center line to me. So in this instance, you would use the center line, not the center line bisector. So I'm going to click the top and then the bottom. Even that doesn't look that great. But the reason it doesn't look great is more because of scaling, even though it is technically the right way to do it. I'm going to right click and hit create. And then these over here, it's only these two lines that would be creating the center line, not the top part. So for that one, I'm okay with using the bisector. Okay, hit escape and we're done with that. Now we can go ahead and add our dimensions. Let's go from point A to point B right here. And that says 4.36, but really we should know that this is a diameter. So I'm going to place it for now, and then I'm going to hit escape, and then I will double click, and then I'm going to manually add the diameter symbol. Yeah, that's better. Now I'm going to add a few more dimensions, so I'm going to go back to dimension. And when I do the angle over here, and you do any of these lines over here, if I do some of these ones over there, notice that it doesn't give me that little gap over here. And I like that little gap. So when I do the diameter, or sorry, the degree, I'm going to click this line and I'll do the last one over here. And that'll give me a 8-degree dimension with the gaps, which is what we want. Let's go ahead and add some side dimensions. The overall height is 1.16. From here to here is the 0.54 that it drops down. And I think that looks good for that. Now let's go over to the top portion over here. And I'm going to create, say from here to here is 1. Overall from here to here is the 2. From here to here is 0.95. And we wouldn't say that this is a diameter of 0.95 since it's only an arc, and then this is a linear distance. So it's okay to leave it at the 0.95. However, I am going to double click in here, and then I'm just going to say like typical for that. Like you always use caps. You can do typical for typical, just anything to say that all the ones of this instance are the same. Like that looks good. And then we just have to do these circles. So if you do the dimension ones for these holes, and I do it right here, that tells me it's 0.44, but it doesn't give me enough information. Same with this one in the middle. If I dimension that right there, it just tells me the diameter is 1.08, but it doesn't really describe the full bolt that I have right there. So I'm going to hit escape. And if you have a hole that's more than just a simple hole, the better way to annotate it is to use this hole and thread right here. So watch what happens when I do the hole and thread. Click, boom, it gives me all the information. We have a 1.08 diameter hole through, and then I have a top head bed that has a diameter of 1.54 that goes down 0.44. And that much more aligns with what we see over here. And then for this one right there, I'll do the hole and thread. And that one gives me more information, but I'm still going to add to this. So hit escape once you place it. And I'm going to say that we have a diameter of 0.44 through. And I'm also going to say equally spaced, go on to the next line, on a diameter. Well, how do I add diameter? Oh, over here. On a 3.41 BC. Again, BC stands for bolt circle. And, did I spell that wrong? I did. Through equally spaced on a diameter 3.41 BC. Okay, let me move that up a little bit, clean it up, and I think that looks good. Let me take 5 seconds to make sure that I have all my dimensions. I believe I do. Okay. So now I'm going to show you guys how to create PDFs. So for this lesson, we may or may not be back in person next week. As of the making of this film, it has not been mentioned. So I'm going to show you how to create a PDF, and then you could email me that PDF. So I'm going to go up to File, and I'm going to go to Export. So File, Export, and then I'm going to create a PDF. Really, we should save this first. Let's do File, Save As first, and we'll call this Retaining Cap. Now, let's go ahead, File, Export, PDF. And I'm going to save it in my same location, call it Retaining Cap, and hit Save. And now I have my Retaining Cap PDF right here. And I'm going to, email that. So I'm going to go over to whichever email you prefer. It could be your Brookdale one, or it could be your personal. I don't care, but you can go over to here, then come over to compose. I don't know why it's taking so long. There we go. And then, email me. My email is dcooperman@brookdalecc.edu. Call the subject retaining cap. We got 7% left to do this. And then in the subject, or in the body of it, you can hit the little paperclip, go over to your desktop, attach it, and send it. And that'll be it for this week. So keep checking your email, stay tuned for other updates, and have a good one, guys.